Hi, I'm Alex Paulton. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Talking Timepieces. Today, we're going to look at the Reef Tiger Chinese Tourbillon. Now, this is a one-year follow-up. I bought this about a year ago, and I wanted to I picked it up specifically to see whether or not a Chinese tourbillon was worth the money. Frankly, for $1,000, it is completely worth the money. But let's look at this watch a little bit more in detail. The movement is a flying tourbillon, a true flying tourbillon. It's obviously a little bit more machine finished than hand finished, but the bottom line is after a year of operation, it's still running well and it's keeping good time. The design is, of course, very, very derivative. In fact, I have one of the watches that it's derivative of. This is a Junghans master calendar, triple date moon phase. It's not set right now, pardon the off time, but you can see the moon phase in there. You can see the date function, and you can see the triple date aspect. Shows you the month and the day of the week. This is in German. Here in Germany, I picked this one up here, so it's German language. Luckily, I speak the language. But then again, you don't need to speak the language to know that DON stands for Donnerstag, which is Thursday. Now, the design is actually eerily or comically similar. If you notice, the lug shape is even similar. They have, they both have deployants. This one's a generic deployant. You can find it on pretty much anything coming out of Asia. And it's got a very nice display back, reasonably nice level of finishing. And as I was saying, it's very similar, again, to the Junghans, although ironically it has a bigger movement. Same screw locations, although they are different cases. They're not. It's not like Reef Tiger bought afters on the Junghans case. They are obviously different cases, case manufacturers, but they're obviously. This one is obviously a copy of this one. Although ironically, like I said, the Reef Tiger does have a bigger movement in it, and this one is a plexiglass. This one's a sapphire crystal, and this one is a plexiglass crystal. You can have this upgraded for money. Junghans will put a sapphire crystal on this if you like, but the Reef Tiger comes with a sapphire crystal, so that's already 2 points for the Reef Tiger. Now, in the case of the Junghans would be considered a strong horology company. This is an ETA movement. They call it the J800, but it's actually a derivative of the ETA 2824. The movement in this. So this is an ETA 2824, been reworked a little bit to look nice, and they actually managed to conceal how tiny the movement is in comparison to the case size. This is a 25 millimeter movement fitting into a 40 millimeter case. But we'll do a little bit more talking about this in the next episode. We'll leave this alone for now, but just wanted to show you the style cues and where they came from. Because that's the other thing about this. One of the criticisms of Chinese watches is that they tend to be cheesy looking and gaudy, and this is true. A lot of Chinese watches, actually there are a lot of low-end watches from a lot of company, Invicta, that look really cheesy and gaudy, but this one obviously does not. They were smart. They copied a clean design that highlights the case face and movement. In this case, it does nothing but highlight the movement, so it's very clean in that sense. There's nothing on the dial to distract you from the tourbillon spinning there, and it is a fully functional flying tourbillon, which addresses the second point about Chinese watches, that people often say that that the movements themselves are cheesy and low quality. Now, the fact is that this is a operational flying tourbillon. It's obviously machine finished, not hand finished, but it works. See, what people forget is the Chinese make just about everything in the planet right now, or good facsimiles thereof. They know precision machining. They know precision manufacturing. They make semiconductors. They make application-specific integrated circuits. They make all kinds of things. They make half the planet's stuff. So when people talk about cheesy Chinese products, what they're really talking about are cheesy companies that buy products from China with cheesy specifications. But if you want to make a quality piece, you can, because the Chinese do know how to use the factories that we have built on their property. And they have learned the fine manufacturing technologies that we gave them. So if they can make an application-specific integrated circuit or a field programmable gate array semiconductor-based chip, they can damn sure make mechanical tourbillon, because it's just precision machining. Now, obviously, the fit and finish isn't even remotely close to what you would get with even a strong horology company like Rolex or Tag or someone like that. And obviously, like I said, it's not even approaching high horology, but it is a good watch with an interesting complication in a reasonable presentation at a good price. For $1,000, this watch is completely worth it. I wouldn't pay more than $15 for this, but this is a solid $1,000 watch. It's got an interesting movement, sapphire crystal steel case, leather band, deployant clasp, display back, decent level of finishing, and it even comes in a halfway decent box. This is the box it came in. Not a bad presentation for a relatively inexpensive watch. And like I was saying, I was tapping on the crystal, sapphire crystal also. And although they said it was a 40 millimeter watch, and it's actually slightly larger, but I attribute that to fit and finish. They're a little fast and loose with some of their specs, but as long as everything fits together at the end, I gather it's okay. I mean, it's not completely okay. Let's take a look at the gap there. Yeah, you see, so it's a little bit more than 22. So if it isn't precise, you're going to see problems with like adding a aftermarket strap or something along those lines. So again, not the best quality, but good. The movement is actually in good shape. The movement stands up quite well under scrutiny. I'd love to see this movement in a better watch, but like I said, for $1,000, you really can't beat the Reef Tiger. So I'm Alex Paul. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Have a great day.